students, welcome to my channel Easy Learning. So today I'll be dealing with the topic our environment. So in this chapter I'll be referring only the important areas which is necessary for you to concentrate for the board exam. Okay, so the previous chapters, all the link it is given there in the description box in my channel. Okay, so here let me go to this particular topic, our environment. First of all, we should know what is meant by environment, or how can you define environment. So environment means the physical surroundings, for example air, water, soil, plants and animals, and even the microorganism. All together it forms what? It forms our environment. So it is the physical surroundings where we live. Whatever the physical surroundings, it includes both living as well as the non-living things. So all the constituents of the environment, they interact with each other and maintains a balance in the environment. So these organisms, what all organisms are present there in the environment, in our surroundings, they interacting or depending upon one another, and they are maintaining a balance in the environment. Actually, by the action of human beings only, there is an imbalance in our environment. That is, in order to meet their physical needs, then in the case of a job, then in the case of food, clothing, shelter, for all these purposes, human beings are the persons getting imbalance in the environment. So, when we talk about environment, there are main two things which we have to give importance. One, it is regarding the biodegradable waste, and the other one it is known as the non-biodegradable waste. So, first we will see regarding biodegradable waste. So, regarding biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. So, it is very important. You will get a question for 2 marks that differentiate between biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So, biodegradable waste means the waste which can be decomposed in a natural way, that is by the action of microorganisms into non-poisonous substances, that is harmless substances. So, the waste which can be decomposed by the action of microorganism into non-poisonous substances. Such type of waste it is known as biodegradable waste. That it includes compost, then all the kitchen waste, all those it comes under biodegradable waste. Then how can you define non-biodegradable waste? The waste which cannot be decomposed by the action of microorganism into harmless substances or non-poisonous substances. Such type of waste it is known as non-biodegradable waste. So, I hope you have understood the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So, biodegradable waste means it can be decomposed by the natural process, by the action of microorganism. But here, the waste which cannot be decomposed by the natural process, it is known as non-biodegradable waste. It includes all the chemicals, plastics, then polythene bags, then metals, glass pieces, all comes under non-biodegradable waste. Here comes a question. It is also a 2-mark question. Justify the statement or comment on this. That is, why some waste are biodegradable and some waste are non-biodegradable. Why some waste are biodegradable and some waste are non-biodegradable. So, that it can come for 2 marks. That is, I have told that biodegradable waste it is by the action of microorganisms. So, these microorganisms, that is bacteria and fungi, all these, they are specific in their action. They will decompose only the natural substances. Okay. So, these organisms, they are specific in their action and they will decompose only natural products or natural substances. That is why some waste are biodegradable and some waste are non-biodegradable. That is, they don't decompose the man-made materials. Only the natural products, the bacteria and fungi, that is the decomposers, they act on it. That is why they are specific in their action. Since they are specific in their action, some waste are considered to be biodegradable and some waste are considered to be non-biodegradable. I hope all have understood. So, next we will move on to the topic ecosystem. Ecosystem means it is a self-contained unit of both living and non-living environment. So, Ecosystem means it includes both living things as well as non-living things. So, it is a self-contained unit of both living and non-living environment. So, in this, what are the different examples you can give for ecosystem? That is regarding the desert, forest, pond, lake, rivers, all these comes under ecosystem. But there are certain form of ecosystem which is made by human beings. So, those ecosystem, it is known as artificial ecosystem, or otherwise it is known as man-made ecosystem. For that, the simple example you can give for aquarium, then the park, the grounds, the gardens, all these comes under artificial ecosystem, or otherwise it is known as man-made ecosystem because it is made by human beings. So, such type of ecosystem, it is known as artificial ecosystem. Okay. Next, we move on to the components of ecosystem. What are the main components of ecosystem? So, when we move on to the components of ecosystem, it is classified into two. One, it is the biotic components, and the other one, it is the abiotic component. It is very, very important. This you have to concentrate more because it comes for exam. So, what are the main components of ecosystem? It is classified into two. One, it is the biotic component, and the other one, it is the abiotic component. The components of ecosystem which includes the living things, that is meant by biotic components. Okay, so it is classified into three. The biotic component means it is the living component of the ecosystem. It includes both plants and animals. So, here it is classified into three. One, it is the producers. Second one, it is the consumers. Third one, it is the decomposers. So, the main biotic components, first one is the producers, second one it is the consumers, and third one it is the decomposers. So, the living component of the ecosystem, it is known as the biotic component of ecosystem, and the non-living component of the ecosystem, it is known as the abiotic component. It includes what? Soil, air, all these comes under all the non-living things. Soil, air, water, all comes under abiotic component. So, the non-living component of the ecosystem or the environment, it is known as the abiotic component of ecosystem. The living component of the environment, or it is known as the biotic component of ecosystem. It is classified into three. One, it is the producers. The second one, it is the consumers. And third one, it is the decomposers. Now, we will see in detail regarding what are producers, what are consumers, and what are decomposers. So, producers means the organism which prepare their own food from inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll. So, that is meant by producers. So, producers are the organism which prepare their own food from the inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll. The simple example it is green plants we can give. Second one, it is the consumers. Consumers means the organism which depend upon the producers for food, or which depend upon plants or other animals for their food. It is known as consumers. These consumers, they are classified into three, that is herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. These consumers are classified into three. One, it is the herbivores, second one, it is the carnivores, and the third one, it is the omnivores. So, all these terms, it will be familiar for you because you have studied in the lower classes. Herbivore, carnivore, and omnivore. So, what is meant by herbivores? The organism which consume only the plant and plant products. They are known as the herbivores, isn't it? So, these organisms which take or which consume the producers, they are known as primary consumer. They are known as primary consumer. Okay, so these herbivores, they are known as the primary consumers because they depend directly on plants and plant products. So, simple example, cow, goat, sheep, etc. All these comes under herbivore. Second one, it is carnivore. Carnivore means the organism which eat the flesh of other organisms. They are known as carnivores. It is classified into two. One, it is the small carnivore, and the other one, it is the large carnivore. small and large carnivores. So these small carnivores means those organisms which depend or which eat the herbivores. They are known as small carnivores. For example, that is regarding grasshopper, rat, seed-eating bird, all comes under this small carnivores. So these small carnivores, they are known as secondary consumer. The small carnivores, they are known as secondary consumer. Why I am stressing means all these terms you have to remember because the question will come based on this. Primary consumer, secondary consumer. Then regarding the large carnivore, large organism which consume the small carnivores, they are known as the large carnivores. Lion, leopard, then snake, all comes under this large carnivore and they are called as tertiary consumer. They are known as tertiary. So we have studied about primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. So small carnivores are secondary consumer, large carnivores are tertiary consumer and the herbivores are primary consumer. So I hope you have understood all these terms. Last comes the omnivores. Omnivores means the organism which consume both plants and animals. They are known as omnivores. Human beings is one simple example for omnivores because we consume both plants as well as animals. So that is why we are known as omnivores. So that and all comes under consumers. So producers I have explained, then consumers. Last one it is the decomposers. So before moving to decomposers, there are another group of producers and consumers which are very minute. We cannot see with our naked eyes. So such type of producers, they are known as plankton. They are known as plankton. So, among that, they are known as the microscopic plants. They are known as the phytoplankton and the microscopic organisms, they are known as the zooplanktons. Okay. So, they are microscopic in structure. We cannot see with our naked eye, but they are considered to be the producers and the consumers which are very minute and which is present in the water. Okay. So, one simple example for phytoplankton, it is the algae and for zooplankton, it is a protozoa. So, they are freely floating microscopic bodies or organisms which is present in the water. So, these are another type of producers and consumers which are very minute in structure. That is why they are known as plankton. So, now we will move on to decomposers. Decomposers means the organism which depend upon or which consume the dead remains of organic matter. That is, they consume the dead organic matter for its survival. So, such organisms, they are known as decomposers. Simple example, it is bacteria and fungi. Here comes another important question, 3-mark question. Importance of decomposers, or can you explain the significance of decomposers? So, why decomposers is necessary in our environment? So, we can tell 3 main reasons why the decomposers is necessary in our environment. Because it helps to decompose all the substances, that is naturally made substances or the dead remains of plants and animals, everything it is decomposed by these microorganisms. That is why it acts as a cleansing agent in the environment. That is the first point. It acts as a cleansing agent in the environment. Second one, it is with the help of the decomposers only, whatever materials which is used by the plants and animals, that is for its survival. Plant use the inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, and then it is releasing oxygen. So, for the nutrients from the soil it is taking for its survival. So, all those things, whatever it is taken by these organisms, after they die, they again return back to the earth. So, how it is possible? With the help of decomposers. So, it is with the help of the decomposers only, all the raw materials which is used by the plants and animals, it is again returned back to the earth. So, that is the second point to know why they are important. And the third point is that it helps in recycling the materials in the environment. It helps to recycle the materials in the environment for the survival of life on earth or continuity of life on earth. So, that these are the three main reasons why the decomposers are necessary in our environment, or what is the significance or the importance of decomposers. If the question comes for 3 marks, these are the 3 points you have to write. So you have to be very careful and we have to concentrate in this particular area, because maximum questions will come in this area, that is differentiate between biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste, the components of ecosystem, then regarding the importance of decomposers. So all these are very, very important. So these areas you have to concentrate more for the board exam. Okay. So now we will move on to food chain. How can you define food chain? From the term itself, it is easy to define food chain. It is a sequence of organism in a community. It is a sequence. It is a sequence of organism in a community in which one organism consumes another organism. It is known as food chain. So, sequence of organism in a community in which one organism consumes another organism. I will write one simple food chain, that is here green plants. Green plants is eaten by deer and deer is eaten by lion. So, this is the simple food chain. Here green plants, we are the producers. All the food chain, it starts with the producers, that is the green plant. Okay. So, the green plants is eaten by deer and deer is eaten by lion. So, this is a sequence of organism in the community in which one organism consumes another organism. That process or that sequence, it is known as food chain. Okay. So, green plants is eaten by deer, deer is eaten by lion. Another term comes known as the food web. Food web. How can you define food web? Food web means, you might have heard the term cobweb, isn't it? Same way, here the food web. Food web means the network of food chain in an ecosystem. Large number of food chain join together, combine together. The interconnected network of food chain in an ecosystem, it is known as the food web. Here also, in the food web also, producers are considered to be the beginning of the food web. So here, instead of writing in this particular manner, the food web, it will be written like this. Here, green plants. Then green plants, it is eaten by rat. Rat is eaten by snake. Then this is the hawk or the eagle. And the rat is eaten by hawk and the snake is also eaten by hawk or the eagle. Then the green plants are eaten by insects. Insects is eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake and snake is eaten by hawk. Then another food chain, plant is eaten by rabbit. Rabbit is eaten by hawk. Like that, lots of food chains you can combine together in order to form what? Food web. So, food web means it is the interconnected network of food chains in an ecosystem. They are interconnected. Here, one common thing it is there, that is the producers or the green plants. Okay. So, it is the green plants. The green plants is eaten by rabbit. Rabbit is eaten by hawk. Green plants is eaten by rat. Rat is eaten by hawk. The green plants is eaten by rat. Rat is eaten by snake. Snake is eaten by hawk. Green plants is eaten by insects. Insects is eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake. And snake is eaten by hawk. Like that, large number of food chains you can combine together in order to form the food web. So, I hope you have understood the difference between the food chain and food web. Food chain means the sequence of organism in a community in which one organism consumes another organism. It is known as food chain. And food web means the interconnected network of food chains in an ecosystem. It is known as the food web. This you should know very well because it also comes for board exam. The difference between food chain and food web. Sometimes the food chain will be given. You will be asked to write the trophic level that I will be dealing now. That different types of questions may arise based on this particular topic, that is food chain or food web. Okay. So now we will move on to the next topic, that is trophic level. Well, how can you define trophic level? The various steps in a food chain in which the transfer of energy takes place. Transfer of food, it takes place from one organism to the next organism. So it is a various step, different steps are there in the food chain. So each step it is known as the each trophic level. So here the trophic level, the first trophic level it will be always the producers of the green plants. Second trophic level it comes the herbivores. Third trophic level it comes the small carnivores, and fourth trophic level it comes the large carnivores. Like that, the different steps which is involved in the food chain in which one organism consumes the other organism, or the transfer of energy of food, it takes place from one organism to the next organism, that is known as the trophic level. So it can be written in the form of a pyramid or in the form of a flow chart with box. So here, if this is the pyramid, in the form of pyramid also you can write, this is the producers, herbivores. Herbivores are known as the primary consumer. Then comes the secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. So they are the producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. So here green plants, they are the herbivores. Then comes the small carnivores and comes the large carnivores. Okay, trophic level, the different steps, the various steps which is involved in the transfer of food in a food chain or transfer of energy in a food chain, that is known as the trophic level. So it can be written in different ways. It can be written in the form of a flow chart. Also, it can be written in the form of pyramid. So the first trophic level, it will be always the green plant. The second trophic level, it will be the herbivores. And third trophic level, it will be the small carnivores. And the fourth trophic level, it will be the large carnivores. So they are known as the producers, primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. So these are the two different ways in which you can depict the trophic levels in a food chain. So various steps which is involved in the transfer of energy or transfer of food in a food chain, it is known as the trophic level. So now we will move on to the next topic, that is how the transfer of energy takes place in a food chain. How the transfer of energy it takes place in a food chain. So the transfer of energy, the producers, that is the first level of trophic level. Then at the first step of the trophic level, so the producers, they prepare their own food by utilizing the sunlight energy from carbon dioxide and water in the presence of chlorophyll. So only 1% of the sunlight energy will be utilized by the plant for the process of photosynthesis. So they are utilizing the solar energy and then they are converting into chemical energy, and it is stored in the form of carbohydrate as food in the plants. So that is the first step. So that food which is prepared by the producers, it is consumed by whom? It is consumed by the herbivores, or they are known as the primary consumers. So these primary consumers, they take the energy or the food whatever it is present there in the producers, and it will be utilized by those organisms for their metabolic activities like respiration and growth. But even though some amount of energy, it remains unutilized and it will be escaped into the atmosphere or in the environment or into the air. Okay. Same way, when the primary consumers are eaten by the secondary consumers, then the amount of food or the energy, it will be transferred from the primary consumer to the secondary consumer, and they will utilize that energy for its metabolic activities. And from this group of organism also, some amount of energy will be remain unutilized and it will be lost into the air as heat. Okay, then when secondary consumers are eaten by the tertiary consumers, then these organisms from the secondary consumer, these tertiary organism also, tertiary consumers also, they will get the amount of food or the energy and they will utilize it for its metabolic activities. And from this group of organism also, some amount of energy remain unutilized, which will be released into the environment or into the air as heat. So, among them, there is another one group of organism that is known as the decomposers. They will take the energy from both producers and the consumers. When these organisms die, then they will take the energy for its metabolic activities from both producers and consumers, and they will provide some amount of unused energy and it will be returned to the atmosphere or into the air as heat. So, those amount of energy which remain unutilized and it is released to the air, it is known as the community heat. So, this term you have to remember, and the diagram of transfer of energy, it is important. It will be frequently asked for board exam. So, you should know to draw the diagram, that is not, it is the flow chart based on this transfer of energy, how the transfer of energy takes place in the food chain. So, that flow chart should be thorough because it comes for 3-mark question. This topic, transfer of energy. There are 5 main points which you have to concentrate because it is always asked for board exam. For 5-mark question it is, what are the major steps which is involved in the transfer of energy in an ecosystem. So, coming to the 5 points, the first point it is that energy is neither created nor destroyed in an ecosystem. Only thing it is that it is converted from one form to another form. Second one it is that there is a continuous transfer of energy from one trophic level to the next trophic level in a food chain. The third point it is that some amount of energy is utilized by the organisms for their metabolic activities like respiration and growth. Fourth point it is that some amount of energy is also utilized by the decomposers for their functioning. And the last point it is that some amount of energy is always remain unutilized and it is lost to the environment as community heat from each trophic level. So, these are the 5 main points which you have to remember, that how the transfer of energy takes place in an ecosystem. 3-mark question. The question is like this: the flow of materials in an ecosystem is cyclic, whereas the flow of energy is unidirectional. Justify the statement or comment on this. In this particular manner, it will come for board exam. That is A. So, once again I am repeating the question. The flow of materials in an ecosystem is cyclic, but the flow of energy is unidirectional. Justify the statement or comment on this. So, it is very, very important. You have to concentrate more in that particular area. So, the explanation is that in the case of the flow of materials in an ecosystem, that is regarding the carbon dioxide, water and energy. All these are utilized by the plants for its process of photosynthesis for preparation of the food, and it will be utilized, that food is taken by the animals. So, when these plants and animals die, then these materials are again returned back to soil, air and water, isn't it? So, it will be returned back to the earth. That is why it is been told that the flow of materials is cyclic in an ecosystem. So, once again I will explain that the flow of materials in an ecosystem is cyclic. Why it is told like that means, the materials which is utilized by the plants for the process of photosynthesis or the preparation of the food like carbon dioxide, water and energy, all these are utilized by the plants for preparing the food, and that food is utilized by the animals. So, when these plants and animals die, then these materials, by the action of the decomposers, it will be returned back to the earth. So, it is again those materials will be utilized by the plants, reused by the plants for the growth and development. So, that is why it has been told that the flow of materials in an ecosystem is cyclic, but it is not the case in the case of flow of energy. The flow of energy is unidirectional. So, it is always the energy is flown only in one direction. So, the energy from in the food chain. Okay. So, the energy in the food chain at each tropic level, it is transferred from one tropic level to the next tropic level. So, once when it has been transferred from one tropic level to the next tropic level, some amount of energy is utilized by the plant for its metabolic activities or the organism by its metabolic activities, whereas some amount of energy has been lost to the environment as community heat. So, this lost energy again it cannot be reused by the plants or the animals. That is why it is been told that the flow of energy is unidirectional. I hope you have understood the answer regarding this particular question. So, it is very important. You have to concentrate more in that particular area. Next topic is 10% law. So, 10% law means it is formulated by Kindman in 1942. So, the 10% law is formulated by Kindman. So, he explains 10% law as this, as per this law or according to this law, only 10% of energy is transferred from one tropic level to the next tropic level. That is according to this law he has explained. So, this law is explained in such a manner that the amount of energy which is transferred from one tropic level to the next tropic level, that is only 10% is transferred from the producer level to the consumer level, that is the primary consumer, and from the primary consumer only 10% is transferred to the secondary consumer, and from the secondary consumer only 10% of energy is transferred to the tertiary consumer. So, in a food chain, the amount of energy which is being transferred only it is 10% from each trophic level. That is the meaning of 10% law. So, here in this as per this law, many questions arises. Problems will be there for you to find out regarding the if 3 tropic level food chain is given, and you should know how much amount of energy will be present there in the 3rd trophic level. Like that type of questions may arise. That is plants, deer and lion. Okay, this is a simple food chain, and in this food chain, here in the question it has been told that only 20,000 joules of energy is present there in the sun. So, already in the beginning I have told that only 1% of the energy is utilized by the plants for the process of photosynthesis. So, here from the sun, how much amount of energy is available? 20,000 joules of energy is available from the sun. So, 1% of 20,000 joules means it is 1% is 200 joules. So, how much amount of energy is available for plants? Only 200 joules of energy is available for the plants for the process of its metabolic activities. So, as per this 10% law, only from here we will calculate, that is only from the producer level, the 10% law will be applicable. It is not applicable for the energy which is provided by the sun. 20,000 joules of energy is available from the sun. So, 1% only will be utilized by the plants. So, the 1% of 20,000 joules is 200 joules of energy which is available for the plants. So, the 10% law will be applicable only from plants, that is from the producers. Now, it is not applicable in the case of the energy which is provided by the sun. So, here from the plants only 10% of the 200 joules of energy will be available to the deer. So, the 10% of 200 joules, it is 20 joules of energy will be available for the deer. And from the deer, again 10% of 20 joules only will be transferred to the lion. So, how much amount of energy will be available for lion? That is the question. The 3rd trophic level, how much amount of energy will be available? So how much amount of energy will be available for iron? The 10% of 20 joules means it is 2 joules of energy will be available for iron. So like this type of questions, it is frequently asked for board exam. 2-mark question it is, why the number of trophic level in a food chain is limited. You have to give reason why the number of trophic level in the food chain is limited. So the maximum number of trophic level in a food chain is 3. It may go up to 4. Other because the amount of energy will be going on decreasing in each trophic level. So, if the number of the trophic level is increased in a food chain, then the last trophic level will not get sufficient amount of energy for its survival. That is why the number of trophic level in a food chain is limited. So, this is an important question. 2-mark question, give reason. That is, the amount of energy it goes on decreasing because from each trophic level, those organisms will utilize the energy for its metabolic activities. At the same time, some amount of energy will be released into the atmosphere or into the environment as community heat. So, that is why the amount of energy will goes on decreasing from each trophic level in a food chain. So, if there is more number of trophic level, then the last organism will not get sufficient energy for its survival. That is why the number of trophic level in the food chain is limited. It is very important because biological magnification. Biological magnification. Next point or the next topic, very important topic it is, what is meant by biological magnification or bioconcentration of pesticides. So here the accumulation of pesticides in the organism at each trophic level, it is known as the bioconcentration of pesticides. So in that regarding what is meant by biological magnification. Biological magnification means the farmers may use pesticide when they are growing the crops. So when they spray the pesticides, this pesticide when watering is done or irrigation process is done for the crops, then these pesticides will move or will penetrate into the soil. So when it penetrates into the soil along with the water, the plants will absorb these water and minerals. So when they are absorbing this water and minerals, along with that water and minerals, the pesticides also will enter into the plants. So when the herbivores, when they consume the plants, these pesticides get accumulated in that organism. At the same time, in the case of human beings, as the human beings are omnivores, they consume directly both plants as well as animals. So the amount of the accumulation of these pesticides, it will be more in the case of human beings. So, the accumulation of or the increased concentration, the accumulation of increased concentration of pesticides in the organism in a food chain, it is known as biological magnification. So, mainly the human beings will be more affected due to the presence of these pesticides in the crops because they comes under the category omnivore and as they consume both plants and as well as animals. Okay. So, next is regarding, in the beginning of this chapter, I have told that the ecosystem takes place by the activities of human beings. So, what are the after effects of the activities of human beings? The main two factors are responsible for the activities of human beings. One, it is the depletion of ozone layer. One, it is the depletion of ozone layer, and the second one, it is the waste disposal method. Waste disposal method. So, these two are the main harmful activities, that is harmful effect caused by the activities of human beings. This, it is very, very important. You have to concentrate more because the questions arises for the board exam regarding the depletion of ozone. What is meant by ozone? Ozone means it is a O3 molecule. 3 oxygen atom, when they combine together, you will get what? Ozone. So, here it is a highly poisonous gas. Ozone is a poisonous gas and it is available in 15 to 60 kilometers of layers of atmosphere. You know the different layers of atmosphere: stratosphere, troposphere, ionosphere, mesosphere, like that. Different layers of atmosphere is there. Here, this is present in the layer of stratosphere. So it is nearly from 15 to 60 kilometers in the layer of stratosphere, that is away from the earth. So this ozone layer, it is the O3 molecule. So how this ozone is formed? So oxygen molecule O2, two oxygen atom combined together to get an oxygen molecule, isn't it? So this oxygen molecule, it is available in the atmosphere. So it is used or it is very essential for the survival of human beings. So when these ultraviolet rays, by the action of these ultraviolet rays, this oxygen molecule gets split into oxygen atom. So O2, by the action of UV rays, it gets split into oxygen atom. So these free oxygen atom, they are highly reactive. So these highly reactive oxygen atom, it combines with the oxygen molecule to form O3 molecule. That is how the ozone is formed. Okay, so this ozone is very helpful for the existence of life on Earth. Why? Because it protects the Earth from the harmful UV rays. From the harmful ultraviolet rays, the ozone layer is protecting the Earth. What are the harmful effects? Here I am explaining the depletion of ozone. In that, different types of questions may arise. How is ozone formed? What is the harmful effect of ultraviolet radiation? So what are the harmful effects of ultraviolet radiation or UV rays? It causes the skin cancer in the organism. Other than that, it causes loss of vision. It causes the disease known as cataract. Then it causes the damage for immune system also. It damages the immune system of human beings. So like that, lots of disabilities may occur in the organism. So regarding the ozone, when ozone layer is there, it protects the earth from the ultraviolet radiation. But nowadays, it has been seen that the layer of ozone is getting thinner and thinner. So what are the main cause for the depletion of the ozone layer? That is another question which can come for board exam. So how the ozone layer get depleted? It get depleted by the action of or by the formation of the chlorofluorocarbon. That is CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. That chemical, it is being produced when we are using the refrigerators, air conditioners, aerosol sprayers, etc., fire extinguisher, etc. So this, by the presence of this chlorofluorocarbon, the depletion of the ozone layer takes place. So when the ozone layer gets depleted, there is a chance of ultraviolet rays to directly fall on the earth and it may cause lots of damages. Not only for human beings, it damages the plants, it damages the soil, etc. So that is regarding the topic depletion of ozone layer. It is very, very important. You have to concentrate in that particular area. The last topic of this chapter, it is the waste disposal method. This is also another activity, that is harmful effect caused by the activities of human beings. Waste means that is the garbage which is formed in our house. So some methods must be utilized for disposing it. So here in this chapter, you will learn about the 5 methods, waste disposal method. The first one, it is the recycling. Recycling means the waste materials, that is non-biodegradable waste materials. Those waste materials will be taken to the concerned factories. Paper will be taken to the paper factories. Metals will be taken to the metal industries. So, like that, it will be taken to the concerned factories and then it will be recycled to get a new product. So, that is the first method of waste disposal. Second one, it is the compost. Compost, it is very familiar for you. All the household waste will be taken from the kitchen and then a pit will be made, and in that pit we will put the household waste and it will be covered with soil. After 3 to 4 weeks, when we open, it will be converted into organic manure or the compost. So that is regarding compost. This is the second method of waste disposal. The third method is incineration. Incineration means turning to ashes. The amount of waste, how much it is there, that is mainly the biological waste, household waste, etc. It will be burned to ashes at a degree of 1000 degrees Celsius, at a temperature of 1000 degrees Celsius. So, it is done in incinerator, that is a furnace, and the amount of the waste will be very, very reduced. The ash will be very, very less because it is being burned at 1000 degrees Celsius. So the fourth method, it is landfill. Landfill is the fourth method for the waste disposal. That is, all the waste will be dumped in a low-lying land area and then it will be covered by soil. So after many years, that particular area will be converted into playground, parks, etc. That is how the waste is disposed. So this is the fourth method of waste disposal. And the last method, it is sewage treatment. So sewage treatment is the last method of waste disposal here. And if that sewage or the dirty water, it will be directly transferred to the water bodies, then that particular water body gets polluted. So before transferring into the water bodies, it should be treated in such a manner that all the waste things should be removed from that water. It should be clarified by using the chlorine tablets, and different methods are there. That particular treatment plant is there. It is known as the wastewater treatment plant, and by using that particular treatment plant, under different steps it will be passed. This dirty water, it will be passed, which is coming through the drainage, and then all the waste it will be removed, and at last only the clear water it will be transferred to the water bodies. So that waste which it has been removed, it will be utilized as the manure or the organic manure. Okay, so like that the sewage it can be treated. So in this way, this is also another method of waste disposal. So total 5 methods are there. This is also very important. It may come for 5 mark question regarding all the 5 methods of waste disposal. First one, it is recycling. Second one, it is compost. Third one, it is incineration. Fourth one, landfill. And fifth one, sewage treatment. Biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. That is, how does it affect our environment? So in earlier times, in trains and all, the disposable cups were given, plastic cups were given, and after the usage it was being thrown. So large heaps of plastics will be there, which will not get decomposed by the action of the microorganism. So at that time, nowadays the paper cups are available for having the tea in the trains. So even though these paper cups have been thrown outside, it may get decomposed by the action of microorganism. So what are the advantages of using paper cups over plastic cups? So paper cups is biodegradable, whereas plastic cups are non-biodegradable. Then paper cups can be burned because it will not produce that much toxic gases. Whereas if you burn plastic cups, it may produce toxic or poisonous gases. So these are the main advantages of paper cups over plastic cups. So that is regarding this particular chapter. I hope all have understood this chapter. So this whole chapter I have completed today regarding, I have explained only the very important areas you have to concentrate for board exam. So go through all the points which I have discussed. I hope all have understood. All the remaining chapters video, it is uploaded in my channel, that is Easy Learning, and the link is given in the description box. So thank you children.